Apple CarPlay and Android Auto have become standard features in many current vehicles' lowest trims. You may have these smartphone integration tools to replicate specific apps on your car's infotainment panel. You may also use this capability to receive calls and respond to texts without taking your hands off the driving wheel. While both programs are extremely similar, they each have their eccentricities. Is one operation system better than the other for in-car assistance? Here's a brief comparison. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto's beginnings. According to the Apple Wiki, CarPlay was introduced in March 2014. The Ferrari FF debuted in September of that year and was the first vehicle to be equipped with Apple CarPlay. The function was not generally available until 2016. Apple CarPlay has received many improvements, including the wireless connection on some models. A significant software upgrade is planned for next year, providing even more useful driver diagnostic tools and comfort options. Apple CarPlay has a large number of users. According to Statista, it has over 118 million in North America alone, while Android is more popular among US customers with over 133 million users. According to Auto Evolution, Android Auto debuted in June 2014. While it began with simple choices, drivers and critics praised the interface's usability. Even in the early versions of Android Auto, drivers could utilize voice commands and applications. Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is compatible with all iPhones starting with the 5 and into the future. An iPhone is connected to the dashboard through a lightning wire, and CarPlay casts an iOS interface to the car's built-in display. The functions are identified and displayed by huge icons on the home screen, providing iOS users with a familiar and convenient interface. They are also only one level deep, allowing drivers to navigate swiftly between functions. With a few clicks, drivers can make calls, send and receive messages, and listen to music. Apple CarPlay also includes Apple Maps, which can anticipate addresses from email, text, and calendars, and provides the option to start navigation immediately. If you're in a rush, this is a terrific option. On the other hand, Apple Maps has a reputation for terrible navigation. Siri is a fantastic CarPlay integration. It's a digital assistant that can play music, read and send messages for you, or offer answers to various driving-related questions such as directions to an address or the nearest gas station or restaurant, among other things. Pros: the iPhone may be used while driving. The user interface is simple, familiar, and straightforward. With a restricted amount of third-party programs, there are fewer distractions. The app map can direct you based on your monitored frequent movements or calendar entries. It works with the car's built-in controls, such as knobs, buttons, or a touchscreen. Cons: Apple Maps can sometimes be faulty and does not give precise traffic guidance as Google Maps does. You might expect a delayed response when you need precise pointers, like directions and locations. It can misread location dictations and sometimes lead to irritation. Meanwhile, the Android Auto as well comes with a lot of pros and cons. Android Auto. Android Auto requires Android 5.0, Lollipop, or above to be installed and can be linked to a car's system through a USB cord or a charging wire. To improve readability when driving, all function icons are shown at the bottom border of the home screen. Google Maps has voice-guided navigation. Android Auto can evaluate and show numerous information cards depending on prior searches, such as weather updates, sports scores, news headlines, and a variety of other notifications. This program is also more suited for integrating third-party apps like Hangouts and WhatsApp. Pros: they have a large interface screen for simpler management while driving. Also, to avoid distractions, the phone is kept in quiet mode. A limited number of touchscreen action buttons are also available. Messages are read aloud, and voice response is activated. Google Voice is a powerful and accurate voice service with a short latency. It's simple to switch between programs. What are the cons? Scrolling length compromises usability. provides a wide range of applications, although they may not be distraction-free. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi Direct are not supported, at least not yet. Controlling car locks or interior climate settings is not possible. The overall functionality of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is comparable, but which one you choose will be determined by the type of smartphone you use. But regardless of their differences, they also possess some similarities. How are they similar? Both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are installed on their phones despite their appearances. When a compatible phone is connected to a certain USB port, iOS or Android delivers the interface to the touch display. It's comparable to connecting a second screen to a PC, only touch input data requires a USB connection. In a Honda CR-V, for example, the USB port is located in the center console under the armrest. There are two ports. However, the data port is on the driver's side, while the charging port is on the passenger's. This data connection is standard USB-A. Therefore, an iPhone will require a USB-A to Lightning adapter, and a Samsung Galaxy phone would require a USB-A to USB-C cable. Other Android phones may require a USB-A to micro USB connection. Some modern vehicles offer CarPlay and Android Auto over Bluetooth, removing the need for the cumbersome wire. These are gradually becoming available, so check your vehicle's handbook to see if it supports this form of connection. Bluetooth, at its most basic, allows for hands-free tasks like calling, messaging, and interacting with Siri or Google Assistant. What a driver finally sees on the screen is largely influenced by the version of iOS and Android used. However, both systems generally provide the same functionality, navigation, and access to individual programs. Both seem like operating a tablet, albeit as of iOS 14 and Android 10, Apple's method is cleaner and easier to use. Which application has the more user-friendly interface? While Apple CarPlay and Android Auto have many functions in common, Android Auto is the more user-friendly solution for third-party app users. Phone, maps, audiobooks, music, news, podcasts, settings, music, and calendar applications are available in both systems. According to Android Police, Android users now have a larger range of applications with more popular apps, such as YouTube, in development. Many drivers also choose to use the Maps app from Android Auto over Apple CarPlay. That's probably because Google remembered the pinch and zoom capability, which isn't available in Apple's UI. However, Android Police believes Apple CarPlay may be a superior overall user interface. Because CarPlay consolidates apps on a dashboard layout, switching between apps is more efficient. Although Android Auto is said to be migrating to this layout shortly, users must presently pull up applications one at a time. Apple CarPlay also lets you snap screenshots without any difficulty. Both applications use a virtual voice assistant, Siri for iOS and Google Assistant for Android. According to Android Police, Google Assistant boasts better speech recognition and other things that Siri does not have. You can watch your text messages transcribed on the infotainment screen as you talk. You can also disregard text messages or app notifications with Android Auto. Auto Evolution also prefers Android Auto because of the program's easy downgrade support and constant updates. But how about the AI of both softwares? Siri versus Google Assistant. The related virtual assistants are one of the most significant differences between Android Auto and CarPlay. Rather than repeating ourselves, we present a separate, in-depth comparison of Siri and Google Assistant as well as two others. The simple explanation is that Google prioritizes information, whereas Apple prioritizes hardware. Google Maps and Google Assistant are more data-driven than Apple's rivals, while Apple Maps and Siri are gaining headway. What's odd here is that while Google Assistant is available on Apple devices, Siri remains exclusive to the iPhone and iPad. Both perform well in basic activities like sending texts by voice, playing songs on demand, making phone calls, and so on. If you ask Google Assistant and Siri the identical inquiry, Google Assistant will most likely deliver the answer, while Siri would recommend a web page. Apple will never get a foothold there as long as Google stays supreme. Navigation will most likely be at the center of your virtual assistant use and media, calling, and messaging management. Apple may have an advantage here owing to its hardware monopoly. Connect an iPhone to your car and an Apple Watch to your wrist, and you'll have no problem navigating the roads. Is it time to take a turn? Siri will sound an alert and ping the watch. You'll need to buy a Wear OS watch to get a comparable experience with an Android phone. Conclusion: Apple CarPlay 2023 and Android Auto are both excellent car functionalities, and honestly, you get to choose whichever one matches your taste. So, which would you choose? Comment below.